On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
I wonder why we don't have this issue in my culture that much. We don't have this issue of, even if the pair don't get along, they usually figure it out. Why is it that in America it's just impossible to figure it out? And it's always, I understand what Courtney's saying, it's better to grow up this way than to have it grow up in violence. But why is it that we don't culturally, why we don't have this issue of I've never seen it like that where people are just like, we don't get along, we fight too much, so we don't want the kid to grow up like this. We don't. There's always somebody who compromises. Either the woman will just back down, most likely. She'll just back down, and for the sake of the family, she would be more, I don't know. I don't know what the word is. I don't know. I don't. I just. I don't
I would
know.
ask, Courtney, were you about to ask something? Yeah, not at this point.
Really, you sound like you in a matrix of a situation, bro.
No, I'm trying to tread carefully with it. I'm trying to be transparent, and I'm trying to share with the audience. So I'm trying to give some information, without, giving up too much. So you're just seeing me respect the mother of my children, really, is what you're seeing me do.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in on that about, in particular, raising a child as good co-parents versus them being in the house together?
We can see the difference in children. You can see the difference in behavior, in academics, in basically everything. Even their thought processes are different when they grow up in that balanced environment. Sorry. So you can see the difference in them. So to say that, well, the question was, is there a difference between the single parent household and double parent household, correct?
Well, I was bringing up all three households, but I think that I think people run away with the idea that if we're great parents, and again, we want you to be great parents, but if we're great parents, that's better than them being together. Ultimately, out of this conversation, I'm hoping people will hear this conversation and say, hey, either I'm not going to make children with somebody that I don't plan on being with, or if we're going through some things, are those things worth separating? Or can we work those things out and keep the family together? So that's ultimately what I'm trying to get as far as the message of this conversation.
I don't know the statistics on children that grow up with the parents separated but both involved in their lives. I don't think that they're as good as the ones that are growing up with both parents inside of the home. I will take a look at some statistics on that. But for what I saw, what I have seen so far, kids with both parents do better, as we all know, do better in school, do better in life. And I don't know why that is. If people are saying, okay, we can still be good parents, even though we're not together, I see children still suffer. Even Courtney mentioned that her baby girl was saying that she wanted mommy and daddy to live together. So just seeing that is like, that could be an emotional thing that she has to keep in the back of her mind, which I know Courtney is doing her best to fix that and to put a band-aid over that. But we wonder how that affects all the kids, like having both parents still be present, but not in the same home. I think
that we miss out on some things too, because everyone always talks about you should be, with whomever you had a child with, and that's the optimal situation. However, if it's violence, if it's anger, if it's, the parents aren't getting along and fighting all the time, then what? Does that child still deserve to be in that two-parent household? Does that child still is going to be at the top of their class because they have mommy and daddy? However, every time they go home, they're fighting.
No, I don't think that. Yeah, I mean, I think that's damage right there. But what I'm saying is just trying to get ahead of the curve if there's a possibility, because I mean, some people may say they may have a relationship and say, hey, there are some people that may divorce off of petty things. So I'm just mostly just trying to get people to think that if you can work it out work it out. I do understand to each his own. I mean, I don't really know people's tolerance and what they can handle, but just really think about, even though you're a good co-parent, it would be much different if you was able to keep the family together. And that's only if it can happen. I'm not guaranteed that it can happen, but I just want people to get more in that mindset that if you can keep it together, then keep it together.
Right. And that's the idea of couples therapy. That's why you have it. That's exactly why you have it, to try to keep together. If it doesn't work and there's fighting and the child is getting neglected because you and them fighting in the kitchen and a child in the background hearing it and crying. So yeah, it is, but there's a lot of situations. Things are situational. Everything is different. Every relationship is different. Relationships sometimes doesn't work. So in that case, you do what's best for the child. I would rather have my child in a happy, situation than her seeing me fight with her dad all the time. And she's being grown up, thinking that it's normal. And then we wonder why women are so masculine, or we want to fight you. Look at their household. But that gets lost in translation. It's always, get back with your baby daddy, get back with him. And it's like, you don't know what happened. And even
So
speaking on my behalf, you only know what I tell you.
So you don't think that it's best to get back with the father of the kid?
That's
I'm
not
not
what I
speaking
said.
specifically. I know, I'm asking you
Oh,
a
okay.
question. You don't think that it's best to get back with the father of the kid in a lot of different situations? Like, you don't think it's optimal for the parents to try to spend the majority of their energy? And again, I'm not speaking specifically about your situation or anything, but I'm just saying in general, right? You don't think that it's optimal for parents to figure that junk out and grow the piss up and figure out how they can stop fighting with each other instead of leaning on the default solution to create a better environment for the kid outside of each other?
Well, I stated that. I said that would be the optimal situation. That's why I stated that's why couples therapy exists. If you're fighting and doing all that and you can't get along, then that's the exact reason why I go to couples therapy and try to work it out. But to say that every single couple, if that's going to work, it doesn't.
I wonder why we don't have this issue in my culture that much. We don't have this issue of, even if the pair don't get along, they usually figure it out. Why is it that in America it's just impossible to figure it out? And it's always, I understand what Courtney's saying, it's better to grow up this way than to have it grow up in violence. But why is it that we don't culturally, why we don't have this issue of, I've never seen it like that, where people are just like, we don't get along, we fight too much, so we don't want the kid to grow up like this. We don't, there's always somebody who compromises. Either the woman will just back down, most likely. She'll just back down, and for the sake of the family, she would be more, I don't know what the word is. I don't know. I don't
I
know.
would ask, Courtney, were you about to ask something?